to the RunRX podcast, where we talk about all things running. As many runners know, it's 90% mental. So join Coach Valerie and Coach Caroline as we go through the mental side of running. Welcome back to the RunRX podcast. I'm your host, Coach Caroline, and I'm here with Coach Valerie. Coach, what have you been seeing in the membership lately?
So we've been seeing in the membership lately, people that, let me say a positive first. We're seeing people that came into the group and they come in thinking or telling me initially, because it's usually a pain or an injury that brings people to RunRX.
Right.
So they say to me, I really want to run a longer distance. Maybe I want to run faster. However, I can't because I have this. So I'm just going to use a story, a really recent story. So this woman joined and she said, just to letting you know, I have a really weak lower back. My lower back is really weak. And so I hurt a lot when I go running. And so you see right away, she was already thinking her back was weak. Mm-hmm. So, of course, immediately she sends in her movement, her gait analysis. She's been on the Zooms. Well, what I realized when I could talk to her and I could see her, I said, oh my gosh, you're holding so much tension. And it's because she keeps getting told her back is weak. Her back is weak. She's trying to protect it, by basically, by tensing though, unfortunately, she's actually tensing the rest of her body to try to protect her lower back and then doing exercises that she thinks will just keep helping her back, but it's actually making her back a little bit angry, like it's a little too much for the back. So when she first came in, I told her let's not think of the weak back. Let's just doing the exercises that we give you. Let's just get your whole body to be strong again. And the best part is she fights me all the time. And guys, this is something a lot of us do is when we think like we all have a side that's a bit off, or I can't, do this with one side, we start to actually adapt to that and make our movements around that. And when you kind of take that away and you just work on movement in general, well, long story short, she today ran longer than she's run in years with her dog outside and just the joy of that. And so I said, I didn't say, see, I told you. the joy that I have in that is because so many people, when they have a pain, you go to the doctor and you say, doctor, I have this pain. So they say, well, what do you do a lot? Why run? Well, stop running.
Yeah.
Our runners don't want to stop running.
Right.
However, right. And so they come in and they're in pain and their goal is, I just want to run. I just want to run. And one of the challenges we face as coaches, especially as a movement coach, is when I say, well, do you mind spending a few weeks and instead of trying to run for miles or trying to run for, speed, let's just work on your body and your relationship with running and your movement in your run. And that's a challenge in the beginning, isn't it? People are so hesitant to let go of what they were doing before, even though what they were doing before was creating that pain. So that's the positive side of, we have so many runners coming in, and we just saw this again, another runner that let us know. She said, I have shin splints and I've been told my shin splints are because my hips are weak. So I need to work on hip strength so my shin splints will go away. And we said, sure, everybody needs to work on full body strength. But the reality is you have shin splints because you have a movement error in your running. And what's amazing is, and again, we're not going against people's PTs or doctors or anything like that. But if your thought is, I can't because I have this, I can't because I have this, then all of a sudden it's really limiting your ability to get past that. Right. And so what's interesting, guys, and this is for everybody, is that it's amazing. Your body's really trying to tell you if you're hurting while you're running or something hurts while you run, it's about listening to your body. And instead of thinking, oh, well, my shins hurt, so they must be weak, then you got to start thinking, maybe I'm doing something to create that pain. And what we like to do, of course, is we absolutely want you to not be in pain. So we're happy to give people stretches. We give you strength exercises. For example, if you have shin splints, something so simple you can do is toe taps. Toe taps really strengthen the foot, the ankle, and the shin. And then you combine toe taps with ball of foot hops to develop your elasticity. You do that also with whatever stretches you've already been doing. And all of a sudden, even when you walk, you start to feel like a little more spring in your step. And then in your run, you start to feel, wow, I'm actually, feeling better when I run. It's a great combination pattern, I like to say. But first, you have to kind of open your mind to be okay with, hey, you don't really have weak anything. You just need to learn how to strengthen the whole body so you can get out back there and run.
So just getting back to the toe taps, because you and I've run into this before as a trainer. Sometimes people will call things the same thing, but they're different movements. Do you consider the toe taps where you're lying on your back, touching the toes, or is it more you're in a plank?
Just standing, actually. Just
standing. Okay.
Just standing and just tap your feet like a toe tap. Just lift and lower your foot.
Oh my God, that's even more simple.
Right.
And it's so funny because
now, by the way, you can do it seated as well.
Yeah.
Like guys, this is something you can do seated. You can do standing, and
like
it's just
tapping and listening to a music, just tapping my toes and really getting back into oh my Lord. The simplicity of it.
It's funny, by the way, like when you do go to PT and they'll introduce several exercises, and they'll always say things like, do this while you're brushing your teeth. And you're like, I'm going to spend 25 minutes brushing my teeth to get in all of these exercises. And right. And the reality is that your body really responds to what you do consistently. So adding a few toe taps in here and there. I tell people, people hear all the time, stand up every 30 minutes, when you're at your desk. Mm-hmm. So why not stand up every 30 minutes, add a stretch, add some ball of foot hops for elasticity, do a few pulls. It's amazing how many things you can get done to help you get back for your recovery, to get back to running. That's also, I'm telling people, the best thing of what we do. So when you come in and you're telling me like I've got weak hips, or my glutes aren't firing, or my calves are this, and we always say, okay, we're going to definitely give you, like toe taps for your shin splints. We're going to give you something to help you with pain relief, but most important, we're going to give you a to-do for your movement. And what's great is every time you go out running and you actually have what it is you're supposed to do, all of your tension starts to go away. That way, instead of going out for my run and thinking, I know my calf's going to hurt, you start thinking of what you're supposed to do while you run. And that's also a strength exercise and a connection exercise. So that's our best thing. Is like lately we've been getting so many, because everyone's getting back out into racing, long run seasons are coming in. And so when we hear from runners, like I said, it's usually because they've got some kind of pain or injury. And the first thing we hear is what their pain is, right? Mm-hmm. And how it's limiting their run. And then we like to flip that around and say, we're going to give you the tools to make sure you can get out of that pain and get back to running.
Well, also tell that story about the recent runner who was having pain, and she kept, it was her Achilles, and she kept massaging it. That we need to also work on the whole body, right? That, like you said, connecting with when you said toe taps, like I was going into this whole strength training thing, thought when you were just simply, it was just a simple movement that I can do at my desk or while I'm brushing my teeth. The same was with her, that she thought she had to go through all this anger at her. I'm thinking anger at the Achilles, because I loved how you described it. The poor Achilles.
Well, right. I mean, she's like, I'm rolling it, I'm stretching it, I'm theragunning it, I'm self-massaging it, I'm putting the ball on it. And I said that, oh my goodness, that Achilles is already upset with you. And now you just keep beating on it.
Right.
And I mean, we've all done that. I mean, it's like, you just want to get out of pain so bad, and it's frustrating. So you really think, if I just stretch that area, if I just roll that area, if I just strengthen that area. And what I said to her is, you're actually holding tension in your shoulders and hips, and it's really creating more tension on that Achilles. And so she started to do that. She started to do more shoulder opening. And just, by the way, guys, this is impressive, or easy to know, but full arm shoulder circles, where you just stand up and just make a big arm circle with your arms, that can help your feet relax. And it's, again, very simple to do. Right. And I said, let's just start releasing tension in your shoulders. Gave her some seated hip openers, just sitting down and letting your knees go side to side for a hip opener. And the best part is it's really working for her. And she came back and she said to me, I probably should have listened to you to start with. And I thought, well, that is why you came into the program. And that's the best part, I think, of our program is Caroline and I have made every running mistake. I know I have.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
We're the first people to admit it. And that's why we do RunRX. Like I tell people, like, I want to make sure you don't run with injury and you really work on what you need to work on so you can get back out and run.
Yes. So guys, that's basically what we wanted to get with you today, is to do what is necessary to keep moving. You can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Hopefully you have already subscribed to this podcast, and that's how you're hearing us today. And you will join us next week, where we'll talk a little bit more about running and pain and the mindset of running. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for joining us on the RunRX podcast. If you'd like to know more, join us at www.runrx.fit. And if you have additional questions that you'd like answered on the podcast, email us at support@runrx.fit.